started telling people about our plans to move, a lot of people said, you guys, that's awesome. You're so brave. We kept hearing that term brave. And I think that a lot of people are fearful for whatever reason it may be. You may just be comfortable with where you are. That's all you know. Change may be a scary thing for you, but the advice that I would give is you only have one life. And if you only have one life, would you rather say, you know what, I'm going to go for it and it not work out and it not be what I thought and then just go back home? Or do you want to live your life and say, I wonder what would have happened if I would have?
Hi everyone, welcome back to Black Travel Talks. We're here with the beautiful Ebony, who has truly inspired me as it relates to moving potentially to another country. As you know, this series is focused on what freedom really looks like and what freedom feels like. And for me, Ebony is the picture of freedom. So we're going to learn more about her story and how she made the transition from the United States to Mexico. Hi, Ebony.
Hello, Kim.
Thank you so much for doing this. We haven't known each other long, but I was introduced to you through your husband's YouTube channel and just happened to bump into you here in Playa del Carmen, which I think was a divine blessing because I was so impressed with you guys' story prior to meeting you. And then after meeting you, what did I tell you to call me?
Auntie Kim.
That's right. That's right. I just had such a connection with you guys and your story is phenomenal. And we're going to get into that. But before we get into that, can you just share a little bit of who Ebony is?
Sure. Thank you for having me, first of all. Definitely glad to be here. My name is Ebony, as you all know. I'm 34 years old. I'm from Atlanta, Georgia, first of all. We've been in Playa now since December. I'm here with my husband, as you mentioned, of 12 years, and we have two beautiful children, a 5-year-old daughter and a 10-week-old son. And we love it out here, and we plan on being out here for quite some time.
And Ebony, that was part of the story that totally endeared me to you and your husband, is that you did this as a family unit, a Black family unit. And a lot of times we see people globe-trotting through the world and, expats and digital nomads, but we don't often see people that look like us as a family unit, a married family unit, making this type of change. So what was the thought process behind you first wanting to potentially move to another country, and then second, landing in Playa del Carmen?
It's interesting because we have been talking about moving out of the country for a long time. Before our daughter was born, like maybe year 5 into our marriage, we really started telling, we want to move out the country. And I really don't know what it was that sparked it inside of us. Both of our parents were in the military, so it could be because we were used to kind of moving around a little bit. Adventure has always been our thing. We like new experiences. So it just seemed right. It just seemed comfortable for us to want to explore different things. So I guess that's kind of what the idea behind it was, just to see something different, to learn about new cultures. Who doesn't love a vacation? So why not live somewhere where you feel like you are on vacation, but in the real world? So I think that's what the idea behind it was initially. We weren't in the position to do that at that time because even though we are very spontaneous people and we will jump head first, we like to take calculated risk all at the same time. So if it doesn't make sense, it doesn't make sense.
Right.
So we couldn't do it at that time, but thankfully within the last year, we revisited that conversation and we were like, you know what, we're gonna do it. Now is the time.
Wow.
Now is the time. And as it pertains to Mexico and Playa specifically, it's funny because our very first location we talked about was Argentina.
Oh.
That was the very first location we had ever mentioned.
Wow.
Was Argentina. The second was Belize, which is closer to where we are right now. But we visited Tulum on our anniversary last year. Was it last year? It may be last year or the year before. And just the whole vibe, I think the Quintana Roo area just captivated us.
Okay.
It's near water, we love it, let's do it. We knew, we're moving.
Okay.
But as we spoke earlier, Playa actually was never somewhere that we visited specifically. We actually found out about Playa through research. It was more family oriented. And so we ended up just doing research, moved out here, and been in love ever since.
So I just want to sit in that for a minute. I mean, it was 5 years ago, a conversation that you had. Was that pre your daughter being born, or?
This was pre our daughter being born. This was probably about 5 to 6 years ago that we were even talking about. Yeah.
Okay. Here we are 5 years later, and you've been here for 6 months?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I just really want people to understand that if you have a dream, listen, don't give up on that dream. It may not happen today, it may not happen tomorrow, but if you continuously feel that passion, stick with it and everything will work out. I mean, I hear so many stories of people that if it doesn't happen in the first year, if it doesn't happen when they think it should happen immediately, because you could have given up. You had a daughter. I mean, you then gave birth to another human that you're responsible for. And the fact that you did not, and you fulfilled, that lifelong, 5-year dream, 6-year dream of moving to another country. Even though it wasn't Argentina, it manifested into Mexico, which is, to me, is something that really needs to be underscored, that you did not give up on that. And I have my notes here, guys, because I definitely, I value Ebony's time, and I definitely don't want to miss any of the good questions that I know you may want to have answers to. But I do want to hear, you talked about Argentina. What other countries did you visit prior to making the move? Had you visited Argentina? Were there other countries?
And you know what? My passport has not been stamped enough.
Oh, wow.
It's not been stamped enough.
Okay.
Other than Mexico, we visited Mexico a couple of times. Other than Mexico, the only other place outside of the country was Aruba. That I had been to. We haven't been like a bunch of other places. Like, we like to travel, but it's usually like within the continental U.S., Hawaii, Bahamas, places like that. But no, it has not been stamped enough, and I'm ready for some more stamps.
Wow, and that to me is even phenomenal that, you picked Argentina having never been there, but it was just something that captivated you to that place. And
just any culturally driven place.
Okay.
Especially, we knew it was going to be in either Central or South America. We knew it wasn't going to be across the world anywhere because, family is really important to us.
Right.
I don't want to be too far away from family.
Right.
So right now, we're only about 2.5-hour flight because we're on the coast. So we're close to family. I want to be able to hop to them if I need to.
Right. And you did mention Belize as well as a place of interest. So, but thank you for that. And, it's a very important question. Like I said, we don't hear about families making this, that look like us, making this type of move often. What has it been as a woman, as a wife, as a mother, as a new mother again, during this journey?
As a woman, I feel embraced, especially in Playa. I can't speak of any other place other than Playa del Carmen, but there's definitely a strong sense of womanhood, sisterhood, community here when it comes to strong, independent Black women. They definitely lift each other up. They're very supportive of each other, and I think that's a beautiful thing. That is beautiful.
I agree.
That's one of the very first things that I saw when I got here, is that it's a strong sense of community. As a family, I will say it's different.
Okay. It's
different because, like you said, you don't have a lot of families that move that are expats that look like us. So we're kind of like not the outcast, but like we're just different. We're set up different.
You're
we have
unique.
Children at home. We like to go out and have fun, but we do have a family at home. We have different responsibilities from other people that we come across. So I think that's the difference. Being an individual versus being a family. But like I said, as far as being a woman here in Playa, they're nothing but supportive and positive, I would definitely say. I think my individual biggest thing as being a wife and a mother that I wanted to make sure that I did was create a sense of what home looks like for us in a new location. That was my biggest thing that I wanted to make sure I did, because we were uprooting our daughter and moving her to a completely new place where she does not speak the language. And so it was important for me to have her feel that sense of home away from home.
Okay.
So I think that I took ownership of that to make sure that was the biggest component that I was mostly looking into, just making sure our house felt like a home.
Okay. So, as you mentioned, not a lot of us, or as we keep mentioning, not a lot of people that look like us make this type of transition. What has your social interaction with other expats, specifically other expats, been? Have you been able to make friends? Have you been able to forge relationships? Or and what does that look like?
Definitely. I think it's because not everybody looks like us, and so it's as simple as we were walking down Fifth Avenue, and it could be a tourist, it could be an expat, and you're gonna lock eyes, and you're gonna say, "I see you.
Right.
Hi, I want to talk to you. Where are you from?" You know, I don't think I've ever been anywhere where it's this easy to spark up a conversation with someone. It's such a beautiful thing. It's so easy. Like, it's with ease, and people's intentions are so pure. You know, back home in Atlanta, if someone's talking to you, you're kind of like, okay, what do you want from me?
Right.
You know,
what's the hidden agenda?
Yeah, there's some type of motive, but definitely here, it seems so pure. It seems so pure, and it's with ease.
And similar, she just described me with my initial interaction with them, walking down. You were walking down Fifth Avenue, I was walking up Fifth Avenue, and of course I see a beautiful family that, you know, looks like me, and I was like, hey, but I knew, what drew me to you first was actually not even your husband, who is kind of tall, and, you know, tall black men in Mexico stands out, right? But it was you, I think you were pushing the stroller, and I'm like, oh, where's his sister? And I looked. And I'm like, oh, that's true. That's world, exactly. But you're right. So as soon as we see someone that, you know, we know are from the culture, you know, we, for the most part, now you do find people that could just be, you know, a little socially awkward or, you know, introverts or whatever. But for the most part, you want to engage with that person. So you talked about the women and the social community that is forged here, which, listen, if you are a black woman and you want to do a solo trip and you just need to get away, Playa is someplace I highly recommend. Not only do you have, once you get here, the social connection, there are quite a few social groups, be it WhatsApp, Facebook, YouTube, whatever, where you can start the conversation and get a lot of questions answered from, you know, your own community. So I highly recommend this as a place to, you know, dip your toe in solo travel. If you're looking to move someplace where you want support, you may be by yourself, I definitely recommend Playa del Carmen. But that leads me to the question about black men that look like us. Now, you're married, your husband is quite, you know, the social butterfly. Has he been able to find a social network or a community of men that look like him?
Immediately.
Oh, wow.
Immediately.
Wonderful.
Yes. The same way that there is a group of women, there's a group of men. And it's an awesome thing to see, because you wonder, you know, are people going to be like me? Because we're all black, sure, but we're different, you know, and you wonder if it's going to mesh. But he has met people from Atlanta, he's met people from all over, and, you know, although they be different, they're still able to connect in some type of way. And that's what you have to look for. You have to look for, what's the connection that we have? What is that commonality that we have? And he has made some very strong relationships since we've been out.
Oh, wonderful. That's good, because we don't hear that either. Like, we see a lot of solo black female travel groups or female travel groups, even if you're traveling, you know, as girlfriends or whatever. You know, unfortunately, black men still lag behind a little in that area, and that creates some type of fear if you have an interest. If your, you know, son or you or your brother has an interest in traveling, understand, again, Playa may be the place. Playa may be a place that you want to look at. So, moving on to the next question. You know that question, what would you tell your younger self? Well, what would you tell your pre-moving to Playa self? Like, what have you learned since moving here that you wish you would have known, be it good, be it a challenge, since moving here? And you have children as well, so if it relates to them, that's fine. I just want to, you know, help people understand that there will be things that change, things you have in your mind that you think may be one way, but once you get here, it's something else. So if you can.
I think one of the biggest things is we moved to Playa because we wanted to slow down our life. We wanted a slower pace. Atlanta is full of hustle and bustle. Let's slow it down. That was what I knew I wanted. When I came here, now that I have that slowed down life, it's like, okay, what am I doing with myself?
It's like you're going through withdrawals, yeah.
So, especially because there seems to be no sense of urgency here, and I don't know if that's a cultural thing.
I've
but
noticed that as well.
I'm used to this, you know, even when you're in a line at Walmart or at the grocery store, everyone else around you is looking like, I'm just hanging out in the long line. And I'm like, okay, what, is there something happening up there? You know, so I think that's the biggest thing thus far that's been a challenge.
An adjustment.
That's a better word. It
Adjustment,
has been an adjustment because, you know, we knew that's what we wanted was a slower pace of life, but then you get it and you realize that you have to adjust to what you wanted. So I think that's the biggest thing. Another thing that does pertain to my daughter is that we wanted her to learn the language. She is in a bilingual school. But I think I would have started her being introduced more, even though she had a little bit of an introduction to Spanish before getting here, more than she did, so that the adjustment wouldn't be as difficult. And she's a social butterfly just like her dad, so you know, she's gonna thrive no matter what.
And a year from now, she's 5 years old.
Right.
A year from now, this will look very different. Like she will, but that Spanish will.
And she has already started, and she's very confident, you know, and she's gonna try. So, but I think I would have just to make the adjustment a little bit less of a difference for her. But other than that, I think those are probably the two biggest things. Just kind of looking back, I would have paid more attention to.
Yeah. And I must say, like, as someone, I'm from New York, as some of you know, and so it's the hustle bustle. It's like what's going on. And I remember going to Paris the first time, and the one French phrase that I remember off the top of my head is "La addition, s'il vous plaît," and that means, "Can I please have my check?" Because if you don't say that, if you do not request your check when you're out to eat, that's a social time for, you know, a lot of European countries. They are not in a rush when they're out to dinner or out to lunch. So they may sit there for 2-3 hours. Whereas I'm like, okay, I ate, I had dessert, I had my glass of wine, it's time to go. But if you do not, it's similar here. Like in Playa, and I've been to quite a few restaurants since being here, and you literally have to do like this. Or if you know, and I learned the term, I can't remember it right now, but yes, so it's a definite, it's a slow down. It's definitely, you want it to slow down, you got
we got it all the way.
So we talked about, you know, your daughter, but congratulations on your 10-week-old son.
Yes.
Congratulations, who you had here, correct?
I did have him here.
Let's talk about that, like quickly, you know, you were pregnant?
I was pregnant when we got here in December. I was, about 5 months pregnant when we arrived, and I will say I was ready to move, but at the same time, I was like, I can't do what I want to do. I'm ready to get out here in these streets and see what's going on in Playa, and I'm pregnant. So it was difficult to not be able to embrace Playa all the way around the way that I would if I wasn't pregnant, but definitely received a lot of love just walking down the street. They were like, oh, you know, your belly. So it was fun, but I was ready to get things popping out here. So.
Yeah, and then look, 10 weeks ago, this woman gave birth to a whole human. It looks amazing.
Thank you.
But he's a Mexican citizen, correct?
Is, yes.
What is that process like? Can you just give a quick summary? Like, you have the baby, then it's, you know, he's just American citizen, or do you have to do special paperwork? Or how
because he was born over here, he is a Mexican citizen. Because myself as well as his dad, because we're married and we have U.S. citizenship, he is also a U.S. citizen. So he has dual citizenship. So it's really a matter of just getting his documentation. As far as we have to go to Merida in order to go to the consulate there. That's the only place that they do.
And Merida is like 2-3 hours.
It's about 3.5 hours.
Oh, okay.
for his birth certificate, U.S. citizen born abroad.
Okay.
He can get his U.S. passport, but he also has all of the Mexican citizen things as well. So he has a Mexican birth certificate too. So yeah, he is a dual citizen.
Listen, I mean, so of course I met dual citizens throughout my life, going to college, different countries. But to hear this young couple who was intentional about, moving to another country and actually giving your son a leg up already,
Right.
No matter what happens in the U.S., he will always have another home,
Right.
another place that he can call home.
Right.
I guess we can, start to wrap it up. I do, I'm the type of person, I like to, if I find something that's special and that is not, well known, or my friends and family are, unaware of, I try to bring it back to them and, pull them along. So,
Yes.
I'm an investor, right? So I invest in stocks. So I try to get all of my friends and family to become smart investors. So that was the setup to say, understanding that you found this gym, I'll call it a gym. It's, where we live not too far from each other, which is a couple minute walk to the beach.
Right.
A few minutes to any type of restaurant you want to, if you like Thai food, if you like Italian food, if you like Mexican food, it's all here and in a close proximity. What type of advice would you give to your friends and family who may be looking for something different? There is a mass exodus happening in the U.S.
Yes.
And it may not be Playa, but let's just say, what type of advice would you give somebody that's kind of fearful, like fear is maybe stopping them from looking into moving other places or moving temporarily other places or taking their family because, they have a family. What type of advice would you give them?
When we started telling people about our plans to move, a lot of people said, you guys, that's awesome. You're so brave. We kept hearing that term brave. And I think that a lot of people are fearful for whatever reason it may be. You may just be comfortable with where you are. That's all you know. Change may be a scary thing for you, but the advice that I would give is you only have one life. And if you only have one life, would you rather say, you know what, I'm going to go for it and it not work out and it not be what I thought and then just go back home? Or do you want to live your life and say, I wonder what would have happened if I would have done it? And at the stage I am in my life right now, I don't want to be that person that says, I wonder what would have happened. What if this? What if that? So I say go for it. Go for it, do it, whether, you may not do it the way we did. We came here without having visited first, and, we are more adventurous for doing that, but if you just want to go visit somewhere for a little while and just test the water, don't be afraid to test the water. Don't be afraid to dip your toe in. Don't be afraid to dip your finger in. Dip, just do it, just go, go, definitely live your life, just live.
That's excellent. And you were actually preaching to me because I'm actually here dipping. I am dipping my toe. I'm here 5 weeks, actually leave next week. But the goal is to return as a snow bunny. I want to be here for the winter months. And Playa has brought me such peace and joy and comfort, and everything that Ebony has just said as far as the social community, as far as just the ease of life, which I needed, I thrived for. And even getting here, I thought I was going to, be more zenned out and, just quiet and just meeting people and going to dinners and lunches and day parties. Ebony, I so thank you for taking the time to talk to the community. With Juneteenth and the 4th of July holidays that represent freedom for some, right? It's represent some form of freedom, right? This is what freedom really looks like. This is what freedom really looks like, having the thought and the desire and then putting action to it to make sure that your family is exposed to things that are outside of our comfort zone. Her daughter will be bilingual. Her son is dual citizen. I mean, that's what freedom looks like.
For sure.
So thank you, Ebony, for taking the time today. This was, you are a friend and family for life. I can't wait to come back and hear more. We're going to keep in touch with you, We're going to keep in touch with you and Mr. Juice Man
we will be here.
to find out how how things are going.
Okay.
And thank you guys for tuning in. We appreciate you. If you have any questions, as always, comment. And do you have, I don't know if you're active on social.
I am. I need to be more active, but I'm on there. Look, I'm on there in the shadows somewhere. I am on there. My IG is Goddess with the Juice, and that's with WIT, Goddess _ with WIT _ the Juice.
And we'll make sure she's linked to wherever you're seeing this. So thank you guys for tuning in. We love you. Please keep tuning in. We have a great interview with her husband, as well as some other people who found freedom through travel. So take care. Bye.